So when we start talking about how to shape a shot, what you have to realize is that some hole locations are on the right, some hole locations are on the left, in the back, in the front. There's all kinds of different things. And the precision that you have to have is enormous, because what you need to do is you need to be exact with what you're doing curving that ball and where that ball is going to land, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. I've got a shot here that's 174 yards to that hole location. Now, what I'm going to imagine is that it's a right hole location. What that means to me is I can never let this shot get to the right of that hole location. We talk about targets. What's the target that I'm picking out? Well, the target that I'm picking out, the flag, I never want my ball to get to that. I want it to stay to the left of that. If it gets to the right, now I could be getting into some trouble, and I don't want to short side myself, particularly when you're playing in a major championship. You just want to make a lot of pars. US Opens, you need to make a lot of pars. You're not going to make a lot of birdies. You've got to make sure that you play conservatively, and that means start it up the green and move the ball to the flag, and if it doesn't move enough, that's fine, but you can't have it move too much. So I've got a shot of 174 yards. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit a little cut shot over to that flag. Then I'm going to explain to you what we're trying to do to get this ball to move to that flag. So now, what you can see with that shot that I've hit right there is I've got it on the green. Now, come on over here so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. What I want is I want a ball that's going to curve to the right. Greg, I don't know whether you can play that shot again for us and give us an idea of the shape of that shot. You can see how that golf ball started out and then just faded just ever so slightly to the right. So I got the ball moving towards the hole the way I wanted to, but it never got to the right of that flag. And when we come over here and we look at this, what you can see is that I had a side spin of about 240 RPMs to the right. What does that mean? Not a lot of curve. And what I also did was I launched that about 5 degrees to the left. What does that mean? That means that my golf ball was always on the safe side of the hole. I never put myself into harm's way. And I was trying to hit the shot to go about 175 yards. It landed at about 176, rolled out to about 177. So on the green nicely. I've given myself a nice opportunity for birdie. It's not 4 feet, but you know what? It's also not short-sided and thick rough where it's very difficult to control trajectory, launch angle, spin rates, and all that other stuff. So now, how do you do that? How do you get control over the shot? Well, the first thing that you have to understand is that when you're going to hit a cut shot or a draw shot, what you have to realize is the ball's going to deflect to the side that the face of the club is pointing to. In other words, if I'm hitting a cut, my club face is open, it will deflect to the right, which means if I want to start the ball let's just say at the left edge of the bunker. I don't aim at the left edge of the bunker. I have to aim to the left of the left edge of the bunker, and I have to swing to the left of the left edge of the bunker, because the club face being open will deflect the ball to the left edge of the bunker. And so what that all means is that you have to aim more to the left side when you're hitting that cut shot as a right-handed player. You have to aim more away from the target, because the deflection is going to move the ball towards where you're trying to cut it. In other words, if I'm trying to move it to the right, the club face being to the right will deflect the ball to the right, and so I have to aim more to the left. All right, so now what other accommodations do we make other than aiming more than we think we need to aim to the left for, or to the pull side? Well, one of the things that we need to do is we need to grip that club face a little bit more open, right? And we need to make sure that that club face, when we're trying to hit that fade, stays open. Now, how are we doing that? Well, one of the ways we're going to do that is feeling that we're coming over the top in the downswing. So I'm letting my arms drift out away from me so that the club is now out and over the plane, and then I can swing right across it over to the left-hand side. Club face is a little bit open. I'm aiming fairly dramatically to the left. And now I hit that shot again. And again, what we're going to see is something that's very similar. Remember, what I got the last time was something that started 4.8 degrees to the left. This one started 4.9 degrees to the left. I had about 240 RPMs to the right. I got about 500 RPMs to the right. The only difference is this time it went 167 yards, rolled out to 168. The other one flew 175. So I lost about 9 yards. What did I get? Well, I got a shot that's on the green, On the left side, still another birdie opportunity, never in harm's way. And as I start to try to exaggerate the things to show you what's going on, I lost a little bit of distance on that. Greg, I don't know whether we can play that shot again and just give everybody an idea of what that shot looked like. So there you go. You can see that one had a little bit more movement. And obviously one of the reasons why it had a little bit more movement is because it had a little bit more side spin, a little bit more right spin to it. Now, as we start to grip this club open, we go out and over the top. The final part of this is that my chest is going to be rotating through. So as we talk about the relationship of the lead shoulder to the chin, when I want to hit draws, I want that lead shoulder and chin to kind of stay together. When we're hitting cut shots, I want that lead shoulder to get off that chin. So now I've got the club out here. The body is rotating through, which means the club face is never going to turn over, and I'm going to hit that little cut. And what I end up getting is when I do that, I lose a little bit of distance. All right, now, as we start to hit a draw, so now we're going to imagine that whole location is on the left-hand side. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to hit a 6-iron. I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to hit a 7-iron. Why? Well, because when we start to alter the loft on the club, now all of a sudden we start changing the distance that it's going to travel. My 7-iron will normally travel 165 yards. However, because I'm going to hit a draw here, now I'm going to grip this club a little bit shut-faced. And when I grip this club a little bit shut-faced, now what I'm doing is I'm de-lofting that club a little bit more, and all of a sudden this thing's going to go greater than 165 yards. Same thing is true. Club face is going to be shut. When I take the club back, I'm going to take this back a little bit flatter. I'm going to make sure that the shoulder stays on the chin a little bit longer, and I'm going to let that club face release a little bit more. I'm not going to try to hold it off. See if we can get this draw to work now. So now we hit that shot. I might have overdone this a little bit. I did overdo that one. In fact, I overdid it more than I wanted to. Let me show you what happened, however. Not my best shot, but I'm on the green, or just off the green, so I can play. Greg, can you show that shot again? Watch how much this ball is going to curve. Look at that curve. Now, that's a guy who doesn't, I typically don't hit draws, but I want to make sure that I draw it because I've got to make sure that what I tell you is true is true. So I overdid it a little bit. Please forgive me. But here's what you're going to see. 7-iron, remember I told you it was 165? That flew 178. I got at least 10 more yards out of that by shutting that club face. I got that ball to spin. So my side spin on that was 2,600. Way more than the 500 RPMs that I got to the right. And I also started that about 6.5, 7 degrees to the right of the target. So what does that mean? What it all means is that when you're starting to curve the golf ball, you have to make sure that when you're fading or you're drawing, you're not always hitting the same club. In fact, many times you're hitting different clubs. And so if I've got a hole location that's on the left-hand side and I'm going to draw it, I don't hit the club that would go the normal distance. I'm going to hit a club that's got a little bit more loft because when I close the face, that'll get a little bit farther. So my 8-iron would now go 165. My 7-iron will go now 175, and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm paying attention to. And then the other thing that I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm focusing on what I want to try to do to create the shape or the curve that I want. Now, the final thing I want to talk to you about is ball position. Ball position is such an important part of this whole thing. When I want to hit a fade, I move my ball position forward in my stance. When I want to hit a draw, I move the ball position back in my stance. And what that does is it means that the club, when it's coming into that ball with a back ball position, is now coming a little bit more from the inside. Never try to hit a fade with a back ball position. You'll hit pushes all day long. And don't try to hit draws from forward ball positions because you're going to hit a pull all day long. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to ball position. So when I'm hitting this draw right here, club face is closed, ball position is a little bit back, and now what we're going to do the same thing that we did the last time, only I'm going to try to take some side spin out of this, not hook it quite as much. Let's see how we do. Okay, I think I got what I wanted to get. Let's see if we can replay that again. I like that one, Greg. That's a good one. It didn't cross the line. Let's play that again. Let's see what we get. So look at that thing start out, and now it's shaping back to the flag with the draw that I want. Only 1,300 RPMs of left spin. That ball carried 172 yards, rolled out to 174. That flag was at 174, so now I know I'm pin high. I made the right club choice. And I want you to remember that when you're moving the ball left to right or right to left, you're hooking it, take less club. If you're fading it, take a little bit more club. Remember that ball position. Remember to make those alterations to how you're holding the golf club. And when you do all that, you're going to have a lot of success. You're going to be able to be successful in your major championships. Maybe it's not the U.S. Open, but it may be a club championship. It may be a member guest. It may just be a really important round. Those are major things for you, and understanding how to move the ball is going to help you shoot lower scores.